Hello everyone and welcome to ClickHeads. I'm Eddie and today we're going to be talking out a PR nightmare that further strains the relationship between Blizzard and its fanbase. I am of course talking about the, as I write this, still happening apocalypse that is the Warcraft 3 Reforged launch. How do I put this bluntly? It's not going well. In fact, it's a complete shit show. As this article from Kotaku outlines, with similar stories from virtually every gaming news website popping up as we speak, a lot of things have been promised with Reforged and not delivered upon. Now, just a brief bit of context, Warcraft 3 Reforged was advertised as an ambitious reimagining of the classic game and its Frozen Throne expansion, with lots of content to help bring the game into this generation. These included reworked in-game models, revamped cutscenes, a new, more robust UI, new voice work, and new content that sought to align Warcraft 3 more with the World of Warcraft universe. The scale of what was promised can be seen in the announcement trailer, which is still up and being used on the official Warcraft 3 YouTube channel. The real drama is that most of what could reasonably be described as the selling points for players has not actually materialized, leading to an absolutely furious forum and legions of pissed off fans. But that's not all. Blizzard have made some very sweeping changes to their user agreement, particularly where it pertains to user-generated content that is also contributing to the ill feeling. There's so much to unpack here, and I have to say, before we even get to the details, this is terrible. If I had paid for this game or pre-ordered it, I would be just as mad as everyone on the forums and seeking a refund, if in fact Blizzard didn't try and stop me doing so, which is also apparently happening. So let's get to the meat. Perhaps the most obvious change from what was promised is this comparison between the cutscenes. I'll show you two quick clips between the trailer and what was actually delivered, and you yourselves can judge whether you think the final game is representative of what Blizzard said that they were going to do.
This entire city must be purged.
What? How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city.
This entire city must be purged. What? How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city.
I bet a lot of you have had the very same reaction that I did. No, Blizzard, these two things are not the same, not even close. Even the promised new voice work hasn't arrived. Apparently the changes are very, very minor. I know that voice work is a small detail, but it's emblematic of what Blizzard has attempted to do here. There is the sentiment on the forums that Blizzard have effectively tried to bait and switch, with even some suggesting that Blizzard could be subject to a class action lawsuit because of the final product's numerous differences from the marketing. I hate to see this. I don't really play RTSs, I am not the customer for this game, but I can still appreciate for those who are how much of a kick in the teeth this is. It's not just the cutscenes either. The UI was supposed to be redesigned to make it simpler and better to use. That hasn't happened, with the old UI only receiving very minor tweaks and basically left alone. That literally is something that was advertised that hasn't been delivered. Most of the other examples are just drastically scaled back, which is bad enough anyway. I expect this kind of thing from Bethesda and Fallout 76, but not you, Blizzard, not with such a core title in the company's history. What this feels like is a project that hasn't really worked or suffered major cuts behind the scenes in staff and investment that Blizzard has decided to just push out the door anyway. The worst part is they must have known it was trash. There's no way you could look at the trailer and the finished product and go, this is fine. But as Mike Fahey notes for Kotaku, it's the way Blizzard have implemented Reforged that also leaves a terrible taste in the mouth. You might assume, well, if this game is terrible, I'll just play the old one. Totally reasonable. Wrong. You can't play the old game anymore directly. Both the original and Reforged have been melded into one client, with only a toggle switch in the options menu hidden away. There's two reasons why this is bad. One, the original game is now subject to the same awful launch environment that plagues Reforged, such as connectivity issues and no access to competitive ladders. By doing that, they've effectively gimped the original by forcing you to use the Reforged client. That is unacceptable, Blizzard, and this is arguably as bad as don't you guys have phones? Totally tone deaf. And two, because everyone is now forced to use the new client, that means they are subject to the new user agreement. Of particular note is the custom game acceptable use policy. I'll put it up on screen for you, but as this post from the forums also details in plain English, if you create custom maps, the intellectual property of your maps belongs to Blizzard, not you, and they are not required to compensate you in any way if they use it. Copyright material is not allowed in any custom maps, which means a multitude of older maps, such as anime Anime Fight, DBZ Tribute, and Pimp My Mario are now banned, and any content which is deemed inappropriate by Blizzard can be removed at their discretion, which is probably why the shiny new report button is a thing. So the moment you create anything, Blizzard owns it and doesn't have to credit or compensate you. I understand why Blizzard would want to avoid another Dota, but this is exceptionally heavy-handed. Surely there could have been some middle ground. Fans of this game aren't looking to make money hand over fist, but to not even have to credit someone for their potentially original idea? Come on, Blizzard. The banning of copyright material is kind of reasonable, but in doing so, they have essentially deleted a lot of old maps that people still like to enjoy to this day. Reforged doesn't give fans more stuff, it takes away and doesn't give you, the consumer, any say in the matter. Imagine releasing a classic game with hardly any of the improvements promised realized properly, taking key features away until they can be patched in, like competitive ladders, telling your fans you own whatever they make, and having the fucking balls to charge people for it, while at the same time removing their access to the classic client directly. Oh yeah, and banning people on the forums trying to help other people get refunds. Classy. It's so bad, it really does make you wonder who's in charge of making these decisions. As I said earlier, there is no way that the team responsible didn't know how bad a state the game was in. I get that. Actual devs aren't always in control, they don't just manage themselves. They are often not in control of budgets and resources that get allocated and taken away from projects, but there are people whose sole job that is, and whoever you are, shame on you. As you can imagine, fans are even angrier than I am. Just take a look at Reforged's Metacritic rating. 1.4 for a Blizzard game, a Warcraft game no less. The biggest thing that I just can't get away from is this is a legacy title, part of what built Blizzard's reputation and business success. I actually can't believe they've treated it with such disrespect. It does also show you that Blizzard as a company has grown so much that it can have within its operational structure the people responsible for this car crash, and oppositional to that, the people who treated the WoW Classic project with the respect and hard work it obviously took to accomplish. When a company gets this big, it is no longer a uniform structure. When people say, this Blizzard is not the same Blizzard of yesteryear, that is true, but not because it's all terrible or all good. Now it's a mix of both, with good and bad within its behemoth-like body. The sad thing is, this kind of disaster tarnishes the whole brand. I say sad, but maybe the community reaction to all this is actually what Blizzard needs to hear. A shock to the system. Wake up. You can't keep treating your base this badly because they'll get sick of your shit. I'm still in disbelief. Let me know how you feel about all this in the comment section below. As always, we welcome your feedback. And that's about it for today. I really hope you enjoyed the video, if you could manage it. If you like the content on this channel, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you get notified when we upload. Until next time.